Hi there, this is the Electric Socket, and today I wanted to cover the Uncharted trilogy. I wanted to do a video on each of these games, so I'll go ahead and say that I know that these are older games, but I just wanted to discuss my experience and thoughts about the games and the characters a little bit. Of course, there'll be spoilers, but I do recommend playing the series for yourself if you haven't. And personally, my favorite genre of games are stealth games with a little bit of action thrown in here. I like series like Hitman, Metal Gear Solid, and the Arkham games. I also like comic book video games. Just throwing that out there. Many of these series include some stealth action elements, but Uncharted was the first time that I got into a straight up third person action game. Now, I want to start with Drake's Fortune because it's, the beginning of Nathan Drake's journey. Immediately, the first thing that I noticed was how they put you straight into the action. It's something they like doing a lot in this trilogy. First chapter will have an intense set piece or combat sequence that starts immediately after a relatively short cutscene. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about was combat, and when you discuss the combat, it's pretty standard. You use your triggers, and so nothing else to say much there. The melee combat was nice, but I really feel that it could have used some tweaking. Obviously, this is a much older game, so I'm not going to put any points down for that. Otherwise, I was pretty comfortable in the first chapter. Later on, though, when you're in the jungle sections, I was kind of disappointed with the fact that you don't have an option to use stealth. And as a consequence, your combat will always involve lots of firefights where you need to be a little bit tactical, and you need to find your target and then hide, protect yourself for a few seconds to heal, which isn't really unusual for most third-person action games. And this doesn't really change much throughout the game. Firefights mainly stay the same, but they become more difficult over time as enemies receive better weapons naturally. Next thing is puzzles. There's not much to say here. For most people, it might just be super easy. They are sometimes confusing, but using the journal mechanic in the game and the hint functionalities make it easier for players to solve. And let's be honest, if you want, you can use an online guide if you're really having that much of trouble. Now, the next area is the story, which I feel is why most people play these games. Overall, I liked plenty of this game, and overall, I have to say that, just like everyone else before me has said, the story is a lot like an action movie that you kind of play bits and pieces throughout. Like it's a Indiana Jones type story with an average Joe type guy. Nathan Drake is a likable protagonist, and the side characters in here really enhance the story. Uh, Nate's buddy Sully uh, has really good dialogue throughout the game that shows that they have a bond that they've had for a while. We'll of course explore that in later games, but you can already feel that they've been friends for much longer than this game just started with. The clippy dialogue between them enhances a natural feeling for the player to really understand this relationship and bond. Elena, the female lead, is likewise pretty likable. Uh, she gets left on an island when Nate and Sully head out to find El Dorado. That's basically the premise and the plot. Both of them are looking for El Dorado. She's a journalist who joins Nate as he's trying to get funding for this expedition. Nate manipulates her by finding Francis Drake's coffin, which contains the clues to reach El Dorado. Sully convinces Nate to abandon her on a separate island, which they do, but Elena eventually arrives on the eventual island that El Dorado is on. Her interactions with the characters feel just as human as Nate and Sully's. Uh, she naturally gets upset when she finds him, but she still offers to help him. Now, what I really found was that it was the characters, more or less, than the story that really had me hooked. I was certainly interested in where the story goes. There's there's set pieces with Nate and Elena driving from a jeep, escaping from pirates and mercenaries, and them taking a speedboat to find Sully, who is captive at one point in the story. So overall, I feel the interactions between them, even in gameplay, the dialogue, and the cutscenes, all of that really enhances the game. The story itself is, like I mentioned earlier, just an action movie. It's kind of generic, but it's pretty entertaining. And it's pretty entertaining. It's really, but it still is somewhat generic. You have Nate. He's hunting for treasure. Sully needs the cash that he's going to get by finding this treasure. He's in it for the money, and Elena's in it because she has promised a great story to find this treasure. There's a crime lord, a pirate, and a mercenary who want this treasure as well. They're your enemies. Their people constantly impede the hero's journey and eventually find out about the treasure. But one thing I have to admit, this is the one thing that I did not expect at all, was zombies. This game has zombies. The first time I saw the Descendants, which are the zombies, I was completely confused. This was a run of the mill action game. I was like, "What's going on? Why are there zombies here?" I was told this was just kind of an action game, and I was just completely lost. Otherwise, we just go through the journey with Nate climbing or platforming his way throughout set pieces, turning on generators, finding more zombies, escaping, only to see that Elena is held captive. Then there's more puzzles, and then naturally we find the treasure. And it turns out that El Dorado has a sarcophagus that curses the people nearby to become zombies. The story goes bonkers near the ending chapters when these zombies are introduced, but it's so entertaining that I continued with the game. And the guy that we think is the main villain gets the rug pulled under him as he turns into a zombie as he opens the sarcophagus. And we find out the mercenary, Navarro, uh, is the real villain. He steals the sarcophagus to sell it as a bioweapon. Naturally, Sully helps you to go stop this plot. Elena's been captured, taken to a chopper, where this guy is going to steal this the sarcophagus and make it a bioweapon, sell it to the highest bidder. And so from here on, you fight the mercs, you beat Navarro. Elena's stuck in the wrecked helicopter, which she was held captive in, and you end the game by letting Navarro fall into the ocean with a rope tied to his foot. So, the sarcophagus and the rope are tied to the helicopter. They fall into the ocean, so no one's gonna find that. Uh, it turns out that Francis Drake, the person that Nathan Drake looks up to, he kind of hid the knowledge of this island because of this horrible thing that he found there. That there are zombies on this island. So yeah, crazy. So now your foe and your bioweapon will never be found, and it ends nice and clean with Sully interrupting Nate and Elena as they're about to kiss. But you don't get to find the treasure. You don't get to announce that you found the treasure, but Sully has found the pirate's gold on some boat that he found, and our three heroes go ahead and head on further uh, to continue in their journey. And that's pretty much the story. Overall, based on everything that I've said, I like the story. I can appreciate even a generic story. It was good, but the characters interacting, I think, really helped sell the story more than the actual plot itself. As for combat and gameplay, uh, the regular combat was completely sufficient. I liked it, um, but as I said, the only thing that I really do wish that was available in this game was an option of stealth, and unfortunately, it's not in this game. Of course, later on they do incorporate some stealth. They do incorporate some stealth mechanics, and and I do and I do enjoy that in the games later on. But overall, that's my analysis, and I guess just discussion about Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, I guess. So, bye.